Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and we're about to talk about the financial state of the cities. And so I thought we'd begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If LA City Councilman Kevin DeLeon could lead us in the pledge. Councilman Kevin DeLeon, thank you.
Madam President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Mr. De Leon, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Thank you very much, Madam President. It'd be an honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Line.
Indivisible. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Let's take it from the top.
And to the come on.
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And that's before they get to talking about the city finances in LA. For more on the financial piece of it, we're pleased to be joined again by Sheila Weinberg. She is the founder and CEO of Truth in Accounting, truthinaccounting.org. They recently released, yesterday in fact, their Financial State of the Cities 2021 report, looking at the 75 most populous cities in America and how they're doing. Oh, this should be interesting after a year of shutdowns. Sheila, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, going into the crisis, things were bad, and coming out of the crisis, things will be bad.
It's interesting, though. You know, you characterize the sunshine cities. These are the ones that have a surplus. The sinkhole cities, these are the ones that have the greatest amount of per capita debt. And it's amazing that even despite what's happened in 2020, that there are still many bright spots. There are still many sunshine cities actually operating, cities of some size in terms of population that are still operating with surpluses.
Well, that's the way it would appear because the governments do not issue timely financial statements, so we don't have information about what happened to them during the crisis. Unfortunately, the latest information we have is before the crisis.
Well, that will make a big difference. I suspect we'll have some cities drop off the sunshine list then, won't we? I mean, so that's even more interesting. So going into 2020 then, you're talking about just these 75 cities, because this is a great, to provide some context to the COVID relief 3.0 legislation being bandied about, which has something like $350 billion for states and cities. According to your report, the total debt among just these 75 most populous cities in America is $333 billion. So, I mean, that's before we get to the rest of municipalities. That's before we get to any of the states. That's how big the municipal debt is across the nation.
Yeah, and the states I know is more than $1 trillion, and again, it was $1 trillion before the crisis. So, a lot of these governments, including Illinois and Chicago, are crying that the crisis has put them in a horrible position. It's like, well, you were in a bad shape. I hate to tell you, before the crisis happened.
Yeah, but we did it to ourselves by shutting down businesses that they deem non-essential. But how is Biden's bailout going to help Illinois or the city of Chicago?
Well, I think, it will help. Hopefully it will not help them bail out their pensions and retiree health care benefits. There's no reasons that, taxpayers around the country or the city should be paying taxes for the messes that Illinois and Chicago have created in the past. And, hopefully they won't do those type of bailouts. How much they need, I'm not sure, shouldn't have they had a cushion before the crisis? Theoretically, they, balance their budget every single year. So, hopefully at least they would be at, the point of zero, not needing any money to pay their bills. But before the crisis, we had, the city of Chicago in horrible debt. They had, they needed 36,000. I'm sorry, I get millions and billions. $36 million to pay their bills going into the crisis, which works out to be $41,000 per taxpayer.
Yeah, it's always interesting to do these comparisons. So Chicago, your 75 cities, Chicago is 74th, ahead of only New York in terms of debt per capita, so meaning second worst.
And I hate to interrupt, but you have to keep in mind New York's finances include the school district. So once you add the other entities that Chicago doesn't include in their financial report, and the state of Illinois, the Chicago taxpayers are in more trouble than the people in New York.
That's the worst trouble of any place in the nation. That is a good point to note. Also, Jude, that just comparing municipality to municipality, I always like to look at Houston because Houston is similar in size as well as demography. And Houston, $11,600 in debt per capita per this report. Chicago, 41,000. So similar in size, similar demographically, and yet Chicago has 4x the debt per capita that Houston does. So again, it just to provide this context. Well, to respond to it's big cities. Chicago has unique things, and this. Well, you start to look at similarly situated communities around the nation, and no, there's something very different happening in Chicago.
Yeah, and we think that I don't hear the Houston people crying for federal aid as much as the Chicago, and Illinois' budget was based on that they're going to get a bailout. Even they weren't even debating a bailout at that time, but Illinois is counting on $5 billion of a bailout. We think that if the federal government decides in their infinite wisdom to give Illinois and other cities like Chicago money, we think there should be strings attached. None of it should go to the pensions that have been mismanaged for decades. The cities should have to create a plan to eliminate their unfunded liabilities over the years. They should start truly balancing their budget instead of using loan proceeds, and they should reduce expenditures. And then they should have to establish a true rainy day fund. And again, Illinois, they're in the hole by 30. City is. Chicago's in the hole by $36 million. There's no way they have a true rainy day fund going into this crisis.
And taxpayers have no say in this process. And who's going to have the ultimate say?
Well, it's people who people elected. Elections do have consequences. So the people that are now in Congress are going to say, what conditions should be given to these cities and states who want help.
There's something else about this too. So most of these are big cities. Most of these cities are lorded over by Democrats, and so, for example, Charlotte, which is quickly becoming the banking capital of America and the West, displacing New York, has a taxpayer surplus of $3,000 going into this year. Now, they have a Democrat mayor now. They had a Republican mayor before her. But still, you look at these cities, even cities that have been long run by Democrats, and they're still in much better financial shape than Chicago. So it's not even strictly a partisan thing. It's a political culture thing. And I think that's something that we're always loath to admit here locally.
Yeah, we found, the cities in North Carolina, as you say, Charlotte was ahead of the game, Raleigh was ahead of the game, Greensboro was, just a smidgen bit behind with only, one, believe it or not, wouldn't this be nice? Only a $1,000 per taxpayer burden. And again, Chicago's numbers, and these are before going into the crisis. I cringe to start calculating these numbers when we get the information for next year. And in Chicago, their bond rating is finally, getting down there. We've rated Chicago an F for years, but they, not until recently did the bond rating agencies, start worrying about that. I'm hearing from the finance people in Denver of like, well, how dare you give us a D? We have a good credit rating. Well, it's like, no, the credit rating agencies do not look at the overall financial condition of the government. They only look at whether those bonds will be paid. So, people have been lulled into a false sense of security with, talk that, our budgets have been balanced. Governor Pritzker and the mayor, are proposing, again, balanced budgets this year, but they're going to do it by borrowing or doing accounting gimmicks. When you hear the term balanced budget, just think, no, they're not balanced according to what you and I would think is a balanced budget.
Well, right, and those bond rating agencies are lagging indicators, as you're sort of suggesting, and even still, I mean, look where Illinois' bond rating is. Look where CPS's bond rating is. Look what happened even in New York, where New York was actually downgraded last quarter by Moody's and Fitch. So they're lagging indicators, but boy, when you're looking at bad ratings from those agencies, then you know how bad a trouble you're in.
Then you're in you're in really bad trouble when the bond agency, because we rank Vermont as an F, and the bond rating agencies ranked them as a AAA. So you know that when the bond agencies start, what those are more of a short-term indicator. So they when you start looking bad in their eyes, that means trouble is even greater on the near horizon.
Yeah, well, Vermont maybe can be bailed out if they sell enough of those Bernie Sanders mittens, but unfortunately, we're not in that same position. Sheila Weinberg, founder and CEO of Truth in Accounting. Go to truthinaccounting.org to check out the financial state of the city's 2021 report. Sheila, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan and Amy.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
For 25 years, Turnkey IT has been serving the business community by providing reliable IT solutions. Today, we're expanding into consulting. Turnkey Consulting provides top-tier consulting expertise to help you grow your business and figure out where and how to make money. We uncover important data to guide your decisions and put you leaps and bounds ahead of the competition. As an intro to our team, we've designed an opportunity scorecard to analyze your current offerings and find the sweet spots that translate into profits. The scorecard takes 2 weeks to complete and identifies specific growth and improvement opportunities for your business. During this introductory period, Turnkey is offering the scorecard at 50% off standard rates, making it easy to help your business find the growth and profits that may be hiding in plain sight. IT services are still the cornerstone of Turnkey, but now Turnkey IT is simply Turnkey. Small business champions and so much more than an IT company, helping our customers thrive and drive their businesses forward.
Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
Why Dan Proft is Single is coming up next, so hold on, ladies. It's coming. Hey, if you'd like to have more light in your basement or make it a safer place to be, Permaseal Basement Systems can install an egress window and make that happen. In just one day, they can convert that dark, creepy area in your basement into a bright, usable part of your home and make it compliant with today's building codes. Permaseal can convert existing small windows into large emergency exits, or